Hey guys, so as you can see I have a new computer case, and since I've had problems with my computer, I found out really what the problem was. It really wasn't the CPU after all. It was actually the voltage regulators on the motherboard. So instead of waiting for my motherboard to come back, I just bought an XFX 750A SLI motherboard, and it's great. I love it. It's actually a recertified motherboard, but it came factory sealed, like brand new. It had all the accessories that usually come with it. It's a beautiful motherboard. I got it for only $60 from Tiger Direct. It's factory recertified, which means usually it's kept very nice. It didn't have any scratches or anything on it. It looked like a brand new motherboard. It looks exactly like something that would be new. So as you can see on the inside here, I have a blue fan at the top, 120mm of Hevia blue 120mm UV blue LED fan, and right here, the Arctic Cooling Freezer 64 Pro, which I've had since I first got a gaming computer, and right here, got my Arctic Cooling Extreme Accelero. It's got three 80mm fans on the cooler for an XFX 9800 GTX that I put on there, and I have that overclocked to 750 megahertz GPU clock, and the memory is 1200 megahertz now. Right now, actually, I'm going to be making a new overclocking video, because now I know actually how to overclock really well. The motherboard I was using wasn't a really good example of how to overclock your CPU, but now I can actually reach clocks as high as 3.5 gigahertz with my new motherboard, and it's amazing. It's all stable. It's great. Right now I'm at 3 gigahertz. I'll show you. So move this out of the way and bring up CPU Z. My Windows rating went up too as soon as I let's see if this will adjust, hopefully. Yeah, I'm running at 3 gigahertz right now, and I'm running at 1.35 volts, but as you can see it's going to 1.4, but that's just because it's just cycling the voltage right now. But what I did was I went into my BIOS, and it's got an overclock BIOS where it goes, and it's called Just Woot, but I know it sounds strange, but it's really easy to overclock, and all I had to do was change the multiplier to 15, keep all the bus speed at 200 megahertz, and the hyperthread link at 800. I kept them all, hyper transport link at 800. I didn't have to up that, and all I had to do was up the voltage to 1.35 volts to get the 3 gigahertz, and I can go farther. I just don't have the cooler to do it right now, but I know it'll go as high as 3.6, maybe even higher. But I actually got a new AMD CPU, the 5000 Plus Black Edition, which I've had, but I sent it back to AMD thinking there was something wrong with it, and then it came back and I popped it in my old motherboard and it still made the noise, so I knew it wasn't the CPU. So right here I've got the CPU, not the CPU, the motherboard all packed up and ready to go. So I'm going to be shipping that out. I'll use that as a folding computer for cancer research projects and stuff like that. Yeah, so the motherboard says everything right here on the CPU Z. Tells you it's a 750A chipset, and yeah, and I can do SLI on this motherboard too. It's a great motherboard. It's got the little debug LED there. It's a really cool thing. So the Silverstone Raven case is great, by the way. So if you want one, I recommend getting one because they're really great cases. As you can see the fan right there. This top comes off. Now this is what's different about this case than all the other cases, is that the motherboard's flipped 90-degree angle, so that the power supply's fan is sucking air from the back of the case instead of from the inside, and it's on an angle like there, right there, and then my cooler's upside down, along with the graphics card, which is sideways, and the motherboard's flipped. And right down there, you can see there's these. It's kind of hard to see with the lighting I have right now, but there's these fans at the bottom that cycle air. Okay, you see my hand, right? Right under here, there's air being sucked under, and then it gets brought up naturally, because air naturally rises, heat naturally rises, and it's going out the top here. So the air naturally comes out, and it's really got a great effect on the cooling. When I had the stock from the processor at 2.6, it would idle at 28 degrees Celsius with a not so good cooler, and that's really good for what it is. So I'm going to show you what this looks like. The top off. So all you got to do is just pop the top off. Fan at the top here blows a ton of air. It's kind of warm in there right now because I'm running some stuff right on the computer. So here's my graphics card, the dual slot card because it's a 9000 GTX. Got my monitor plugged in here. Have my speakers plugged in. My internet, RJ45 network cable. My keyboard and mouse. Don't have my printer hooked up right now, but I will. But this motherboard's great. I have to say I really like this motherboard for the price, $60. It's a really high-end motherboard for what it is. It's got a MOSFET cooler with the chipset cooler on the bottom. It's got a huge heat pipe going down. This motherboard supports memory up to DDR2 1066. The only thing that's not so good about it is the CPU support. It can only go up to 95 watts TDP, which is the highest the processor's load can go. So they've got a CPU compatibility list on their website, but they don't have all the processors that are compatible on there. So anything that's if any processor that's above 95 watts you can't use on this. That includes some of the new AMD Phenom 2s. I'm not sure about the AMD Athlon 2s though. You may be able to use those on this motherboard, but I think I'm going to ask XFX support about that, because in the future I may do that if it's possible, if it allows for that process to be going there. But other than that, this motherboard is a great buy. I got it for $60 at Tiger Direct, and if you need a new motherboard, I wouldn't, it has to deal up. Newegg only had it on their website for a couple of days for $70, and that went real quick because a lot of people, I guess, wanted the motherboard. It's a really nice motherboard, and it was only $60. It's brand new price if you were to buy it new, which you can't really buy it new anymore. It's kind of hard to find. It was $120, so I got it for half the price. Recertified, and it came with all the accessories like it's brand new. So it was just plug and play from where it was. I didn't even have to, reinstall my OS. All I did was repair the OS, and it kind of does like an installation over the motherboard. So, yep. Okay, guys, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys subscribe if you like our videos. So yeah, thanks again, guys.